Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Hollyoaks fans will see Martha Blake's evil scheme take another dangerous turn next week, and someone ends up in hospital thanks to her actions. With Sienna having discovered that she's been drugged, Martha puts a plan into action to protect her family. But who ends up getting poisoned? The walls are closing in on Martha. Sienna's frightening ordeal has left her paranoid about who is targeting her, and she's determined to get answers. Our Hollyoaks source explains. As Sienna gets closer to the truth, Martha wants to make sure someone else takes the blame. And the perfect setting is Jez and John Paul's engagement party. The Blakes and McQueens come together to celebrate the loved-up couple at Casa McQueen. But it isn't long before tensions flare between the two families. Sienna is distracted by her poisoning mystery and confides in Dodger, who jumps to his own conclusions and accuses Grace of drugging his twin sister. At the party, Jess tells his mom that Sienna is growing suspicious of those close to her. To cover up her crimes, Martha decides to frame someone else and sets her sights on her granddaughter's recent love interest Cleo. As John Paul proves his love to Jez with a bold new tattoo, Cleo is hurt by Sienna's reluctance to be affectionate in public. But disaster strikes when Mara suddenly doubles over in pain. Is she Martha's next victim? All hell breaks loose at the party. Not only is Myra in a bad way, but Stay gets a call that is every parent's worst nightmare, telling him that Lucas is in hospital. Our insider confirms. He is understandably desperate to be with his son, so Sienna offers to give Steve a lift. But her kind gesture comes back to haunt her, as she puts even more people in danger when she gets behind the wheel. In truly terrifying scenes, Sienna's vision blurs while she is driving, and she loses feeling in her legs yet again. Jez learns that his daughter's temporary paralysis has caused a car crash, and he rushes to the hospital with Martha and Cleo. As a number of patients receive urgent treatment, there is heartbreak in store for one resident, who is given a shocking diagnosis. Meanwhile, Martha's plan seems to have worked, as Sienna and her family accuse Cleo of poisoning her. Cleo is completely blindsided by this allegation, our source adds. She and Sienna have had their fair share of ups and downs already in their attempt to navigate this surprise relationship, but she is devastated by this latest betrayal. Cleo tries her best to convince Sienna that she would never hurt her, but as it's tricky for her to trust anyone at the moment, it remains to be seen whether Cleo will be believed. It's set to be an eventful week in the village, with huge stories colliding in catastrophic ways. But will Martha's twisted crimes be exposed, or will Cleo take the fall? The village of Hollyoaks is about to be rocked by one of its most harrowing and emotional storylines to date, as Sienna Blake finds herself at the heart of a horrifying car crash, following a chilling act of betrayal orchestrated by none other than Martha, whose poisonous plan is finally set into devastating motion. For weeks, viewers have watched as the tension between Sienna and Martha slowly built, with subtle manipulations and behind-the-scenes scheming leading to a web of lies so tightly spun that even Sienna, with all her cunning and intuition, never saw the truth until it was too late. Now as the story unfolds and secrets are exposed in the most brutal way possible, the village will be left asking how far one woman would go for revenge, and what the true cost of Martha's vengeance really is. It all begins innocently enough with Sienna focusing her attention on Ethan, and the twins trying to keep her life as stable as possible after months of turbulence. But there's a shadow lurking around her, one that's been growing darker by the day. Martha's arrival in the village was initially seen as a chance for a fresh start, but her real motive has slowly emerged. Fueled by resentment and a long-held grudge, Martha has been carefully laying the groundwork for a master plan aimed squarely at Sienna, and now that plan is about to reach its sickening climax. In the days leading up to the crash, subtle signs begin to surface. Sienna notices strange things happening around her. A missed appointment, a car key gone missing, odd messages that she can't explain. And although she brushes them off with a nervous laugh, the seeds of paranoia begin to take root. Ethan too senses something is off, but as usual he's too preoccupied with his own problems to truly connect the dots. Meanwhile, Martha is playing a dangerous game, smiling sweetly while pulling strings from the shadows, keeping just enough distance to avoid suspicion. It's not until Sienna discovers a threatening note in her locker, written in a handwriting she doesn't recognize, that her concern turns to genuine fear. Convinced someone is trying to mess with her head, she turns to Leela for advice and support. But Leela warns her not to jump to conclusions, reminding her of past mistakes and the trouble that paranoia has caused before. Desperate for clarity, Sienna tries to piece together the events of the last few weeks, slowly beginning to realize that Martha may not be the friend she pretended to be. But the truth is far more dangerous than she could have imagined. Martha has been working closely with someone from Sienna's past, a figure whose identity remains shrouded in mystery, but whose vendetta against Sienna is deeply personal. Together they concocted a plan to not only destroy Sienna's reputation, but to put her in the path of irreversible tragedy. The day of the crash begins like any other. Sienna is running late for a school event involving the twins, and she's stressed after a tense argument with Ethan about their future. Determined to make it up to the kids, she rushes to the car, unaware that someone has tampered with the brakes hours earlier. As she speeds down a country road just outside the village, her phone buzzes with a text message from an unknown number. It's a photo of her and the twins, accompanied by the chilling words, "You'll never be safe again." Her heart pounds as she glances at the image, panic rising in her throat, but she doesn't have time to process it because moments later she loses control of the car. It veers violently off the road, crashing through a barrier before flipping and landing in a ditch. The screen goes black. When the episode returns, viewers are met with a devastating aftermath. Smoke billows from the wreckage as emergency sirens wail in the distance. It's Leela who receives the call first, and she races to the scene, closely followed by Ethan, who is barely able to contain his panic. The sight of the mangled car sends shockwaves through the village, and soon the news spreads like wildfire. At the hospital, doctors work tirelessly to stabilize Sienna, who is unconscious with multiple injuries. The prognosis is uncertain, and the emotional fallout begins almost immediately. Ethan blames himself for not listening to Sienna when she voiced her concerns, while the twins are left confused and frightened, not fully understanding the gravity of what's happened. Meanwhile, Martha plays the concerned friend to perfection, visiting the hospital with flowers and asking after Sienna's condition, all the while masking her satisfaction with the chaos she's caused. But Martha's victory is short-lived because the truth is already beginning to unravel. DSO Anderson launches an investigation into the crash and quickly identifies foul play. Forensic reports reveal the brake lines were cut intentionally, and suspicion falls on those closest to Sienna. As the police close in on the culprit, Martha starts to crack under pressure. Flashbacks reveal the extent of her manipulation, including a scene where she is seen meeting with a mysterious accomplice in a dark alleyway, handing over a wad of cash in exchange for information on Sienna's movements. The accomplice remains nameless, but their voice and silhouette suggests they're not a stranger to longtime viewers. As Zoe digs deeper, she discovers inconsistencies in Martha's statements, and when surveillance footage shows her near Sienna's car hours before the crash, the walls start closing in. Martha is brought in for questioning, and although she initially denies any wrongdoing, her mask begins to slip. The episode reaches a fever pitch as Martha finally confesses, not out of guilt but out of frustration, that her plan didn't go far enough. In a chilling monologue, she reveals her hatred for Sienna stems from a past incident involving a family member. A betrayal that cost Martha everything and sent her spiraling into a dark place. Her poisonous plan was never about justice, it was about destruction and revenge, and she intended for Sienna to suffer in the worst way possible. But just as she is arrested, viewers are left with a final twist. The mysterious figure who helped Martha has vanished, leaving behind only a cryptic note. This isn't over. The implication is clear: Sienna's ordeal may just be beginning. Back at the hospital, Sienna finally regains consciousness, surrounded by loved ones, but the experience has left her shaken and vulnerable. She can barely speak her first words, a whisper asking if the twins are safe. Ethan assures her they're fine, but the emotional scars are evident. In the days that follow, Sienna struggles to come to terms with the fact that someone tried to kill her, and that she was powerless to stop it. The community rallies around her, offering support, but the lingering threat of the unnamed accomplice casts a long shadow over her recovery. Meanwhile, Martha is remanded into custody awaiting trial, her face cold and unrepentant, as she's led away in handcuffs. Her final words to Sienna still echo ominously, "You may have survived, but you'll never be the same." The storyline is set to continue with explosive consequences as Sienna embarks on a journey not just of healing but of uncovering the full extent of the betrayal. As she begins to remember more details from the day of the crash, she grows increasingly convinced that the person Martha was working with is someone she knows intimately, someone she once trusted. And with Martha refusing to reveal the identity of her partner in crime, Sienna is forced to take matters into her own hands. As she digs deeper into her own past, uncovering painful secrets and old enemies, the true scope of the conspiracy becomes clear. This wasn't just a random act of vengeance, it was part of something much larger and far more dangerous. In the coming weeks, Hollyoaks will delve into the psychological aftermath of the crash, exploring themes of trauma, trust, and the long road to justice. Sienna's resilience will be tested like never before as she faces the reality of a world where danger can come from even the most unexpected places. With her family in danger and the truth still out of reach, she must confront the ghosts of her past and make impossible choices about who she can trust. But one thing is certain, Sienna Blake is not going down without a fight. As the village comes to grips with the enormity of what's happened, a sense of unease settles over the community. The crash has opened old wounds and sparked new rivalries. Secrets once buried begin to resurface, and the question on everyone's mind is the same. Who is the shadowy figure behind Martha's plan, and when will they strike again? One thing is clear, the game is far from over. And in Hollyoaks, the past never stays buried for long. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Hollyoaks Update YouTube channel for more update news.